Welcome to the Making of Me podcasts, where we explore all the moments that define what we become. So today, I'm joined by David Nassief, who went from being fire at 63, with almost no savings, and now becoming a millionaire at 69, and turned that experience into a simple, powerful roadmap of financial freedom. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show, David.
Thank you, Era. I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you. So, David, what were some of the moments, some of the challenges that shape you into who you are today?
Well, it was that moment when I was 63. I had just got fired after 18 years with the same company. I tell you, I would not wish that day on anybody. I did the math. If I drained all of my savings and all of our retirement, we'd be broke by 65. Now, at this point, Era, I'm thinking, who's going to hire me at my age? But the worst part of it all was driving home. I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to tell Mary? We'd been married for 30 years and she did not deserve the mess I just threw us into. I felt like the biggest loser. So anyways, after a couple months of dead-end job searchings, I decided to take a huge risk and I went to work as an independent sales agent on straight commission. No salary, no safety net. The first months were brutal. Cold calls, constant rejections, rookie mistakes. I remember showing up to a prospect and he was interested and he asked me for some sales materials. And I realized I forgot to bring the sales materials. I mean, what salesman does that? I felt like if I actually had a job, I'd fire me. So anyways, I was a newcomer in the local market and I constantly heard rejections. But Errol, I found out that the rejections I was giving me the resistance I needed to build mental muscles, because just 10 months after grinding, and that was a long haul of grinding, I hit an incredible milestone. I was suddenly making more money than my good paying corporate salary. And for a brief moment, I felt like we made it. But then I realized we'd saved almost nothing. And I knew making money wasn't enough. I had to learn how to invest it. But I didn't have time to waste with a bunch of investment theories and all that. So I dug down, did some serious research, and created a simple one-page wealth compass with a set it and forget it approach. 6 years later, at 69, I achieved what I thought was impossible. From terrified of being broke to a 7-figure portfolio, I reached financial freedom. And I do know this, Errol, if I can pull that off starting as late as 63, anybody can with the right direction. And that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah, amazing. The story is really fascinating, being that you were able to still able to make it a millionaire from the age 63 to 69, which is just 6 years different. And that was really more like a whole lot of huge differences. The fact that you could actually it's really intriguing, especially when I even saw the answers to the questions he gave earlier. I was like, whoa, this is really a whole lot. So what went through your mind the moment you realized that retirement math didn't work?
Make more sense of how it all falls? Okay.
Yes,
right.
It's real.
The GPS tracking showed they were gradually starting to walk in a circular motion. Some of them were ending up right back where they began. Yet each one of them was absolutely convinced they were walking in a perfectly straight line. That is exactly what I was doing with money for 40 years. Working hard, feeling like I was making the right choices, but ultimately walking in financial circles going absolutely nowhere. That's when I said, I've got to do something different. And that's when I started to create this one-page wealth compass. And if I could share with you, if it's okay, when I first made it, something happened that was pretty amazing. And I wasn't even finished with the compass. Okay, let me just share it if I could.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, I was 64 now at the time, so stressed about catching up on retirement when a fiduciary advisor who I was referred to recommended something to me she said was amazing at LIRP, a life insurance retirement plan. Tax-free income, long-term care, life insurance, the whole package. And when she mentioned some members of Congress invested in it, I was impressed. I thought, oh, this sounds good. And then she said something. She says, and if you invest in this with me, David, I'll waive my quarterly fee. Now, my compass wasn't finished yet, but I did have one tool in it called Follow the Money. And it tells me to understand how people are getting paid that are giving me financial advice. So I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, if she's willing to waive her fees if I invest in this, how much money is she making off this thing? So I went home and I did some research. And I found out these products pay salesmen and advisors very generous commissions. They have sky-high fees and very poor returns. And I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. This is the exact opposite of what I told her I needed. I was behind. I needed stable, steady growth. that compass, that one tool in the compass exposed that she was about to make a fortune and I was going to be back to walking in financial circles. So I said, with this. And I took a different path completely. And basically, I was doing just a few things on my new path. One of it was I was getting in the right investments. I was not getting ripped off with my compass, using it as a guide. And I was accelerating my path to financial freedom. And it protected my money so I could just invest in to build my wealth and not someone else's wealth. And that's kind of how it all came about.
Wow, amazing. The story is really fascinating, being that you were able to see the loophole and the fact that you took actions. Not just saying it alone, because saying it does not make it happen, but actually more like taking the walk, actually make it happen. And you're able to kind of go down the path. So you actually talk about the impossible maths. How did you flip that equations in your favor?
Thank you for that question. That's an excellent one. I doubled my portfolio 3 times in a 6-year period. And let me tell you one thing. I wasn't day trading, chasing crypto, or trying to time the market. I was actually doing the opposite of that. I was doing thinking so boring, Arrow, it would put you to sleep. Okay, basically, I used a simple investment path approach. And the crazy thing is, when the market was down, I was thrilled. When everybody else was panicking and selling, I was buying more shares at discount prices. My only regret was the market wasn't down more during that 6-year period because I loved it when it was down, okay? But here's what really shocked me was the math. There's a thing called the rule of 72. And it says if you're getting a 10% return on your money, you'll double your money every 7.2 years, or roughly every 86 months. Okay, by using my compass, my first double occurred in just 30 months. My second one, 13 months. My third one, 29 months, for an average of 24 months, way less than half the 86-month expected time. But the secret wasn't the returns. I was doing a few things. One, I was saving a good portion of my income every month. Secondly, I was getting in the right kind of investments. And third, I was using market volatility to work for me instead of against me. Okay, I ended the cycle of buying high and selling low that so many people are trapped in. Too many people do the opposite. They either get too risky in their investments or they get so conservative they get behind, okay? I found a way to build my portfolio with the compass twice as fast with half the risk compared to how so many people do it today.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Really fascinating. And just seeing the way you actually did with the investment and being able to kind of flip it, double your money couples of time, which you actually make reference of from statistics, it ought to be it ought to be 7 years, but you were able to flip it and within 30, yeah, you were able to do it, and it was really amazing. Why do high earners often retire broke?
Oh,
Why
yeah.
average earner quietly build wealth?
Let me tell you, this is shocking. Okay, I was shocked when I researched it. Okay, let's take super high earners. Okay, how about pro athletes? Okay, the NBA, the average player makes over $10 million a year. Arrow, that's not $10 million in their career. That's $10 million in 1 year. That's more than $10 million in 1 year. Yeah. But after 5 years of retirement, 60% of these athletes are broke, according to the Netflix documentary Broke. Now, look at the NFL. They're even worse. After 2 years of retirement, 78% are broke. They're either bankrupt or they're financially serious stressed. This is according to Sports Illustrated. These are people making millions and millions, and they end up with nothing. Now, compare that to Dale Schroeder. He was a basketball-loving carpenter, making a modest income his whole life, and yet he chose to live below his means and invest consistently. He ended up with $3 million, more than most of the NFL and the NBA players, more than most of them, not all of them, most of them, okay? And here's what I found that really is so true. You know, a lot of people, their income grows at lightning speed, but what I found is clear direction beats misdirected speed every single time. Okay, and those athletes prove it. And that's what the compass gives me. It gives me clear direction so I don't go off on tangents, because I was no better than those athletes on a much lower income the way I was doing it for 40 years.
Yeah, clear direction beats misdirected speed. Yeah, that was really amazing. It just speaks volumes to what you just make reference of, and that was really sweet. So what is the biggest financial mistake you see people make at any early age?
This is one. It's fees. I'll tell you, it's fees. People are paying what seems like tiny termite-sized fees, but they're inflicting quietly termite-like destruction on their portfolios. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about, okay? Let's compare two people, same age, same income, both investing $1,000 a month for their entire 40-year career. Person A puts it in a low-cost index fund with a 0.03% management fee. Person B uses an advisor charging a standard 1%, and they put him in an active fund with an upfront load of 5.75% and an ongoing management fee of 0.66%. After 40 years, person A has a portfolio worth $8.5 million. Person B has a portfolio worth $4.2 million. Same contributions every year, same market returns. The only difference is the fees, and those fees created a $4.3 million difference. And this is assuming they never got a raise. If we factored in normal raises, that gap would even be bigger than the $4.3 million. And that's what I'm saying is the biggest mistake people are making is they're not paying attention to fees. And I'll be honest with you, for 40 years of my life, I thought fees were just part of the rules of the game. I never even questioned fees. But I find out the rules we don't question can cost us the most. In that person B's case, it cost him $4.3 million.
Wow, that was a huge difference compared to what you actually more like did. And yeah, a whole lot to actually learn from here. So what will you say to someone in their 50s and 60s who feel it's already too late?
Well, let me tell you this. I am living proof that saying it's too late is a lie. And I'll be honest with you, when I got fired that day at 63, I kind of believed that lie, to be honest with you. But as I moved on and picked myself up and started taking my steps, I realized that it's not only about how much time you have left, Arrow, it's also about how you use that time. Too many people at my age, if they were in my situation, a lot of people end up that way, they panic. They either get in high-risk investments, which end up tragically ending for them, or they get so conservative, they're just not even keeping up with inflation and they're going backwards every time. When I created my compass, it enabled me to focus on boring, proven principles that work. Okay, and as a result, my portfolio started doubling. And in some years, my portfolio growth was greater than my gross annual income. And when that happens, it stops feeling like catching up and starts feeling like real financial freedom. I don't believe it's about age so much. It's about, are you willing to navigate on a smarter path? And that's where I feel it's really about.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, David. Also, lastly, David, if someone could only take one step today towards financial freedom, what should it be?
Well, I'll tell you, and I don't mean this in a self-serving way because it doesn't cost anybody any money. But
Yeah.
I took 6 years of my life to develop this one-page compass. It took me from nearly broke to financial independence and a 7-figure income. I documented it all on one piece of paper. It's literally one page compass. It's not like a 50-page document or anything like that. And I'm giving it away for free to all your listeners as a gift for being here as a guest of yours. And if they just go to One Page Wealth Compass, when they join the newsletter, they can download instantly a free copy of this one-page compass. And I would say start there. Don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, or at least look at it and see what you think about it, because I think you'll find it's pretty easy. I made it super simple. I'm not a super bright guy. I'm not a super financial guy. I'm not a Wall Street guy at all. Believe me, I'm just an average person. But I think that if they did that, they would find this is a lot easier than they think it. And the newsletter will give them tips that'll help support the compass. And so I have to be honest with you, that's what I really think is a wise first step in my estimation.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, David. So, David, finally, if my audience is going to reach out to you and listen on to hear more from you, or buy one or two products from you, how can they reach out and where's the best platform?
The best place is onepagewealthcompass.com. It's my website. It's got free videos, free newsletter, free blog. Everything's free on it. There is a link if you want to buy the book, okay, on Amazon. You can do that too. But the importantly is you can get the free one-page wealth compass. And then there's a place for comments, or you can contact me and you can send me a message or whatever, and I'll respond. I'm happy to help in any way I can. So that's the onepagewealthcompass.com is the best place to reach me.
Amazing. Thank you, David, for sharing such a powerful stories of resilience, clarity, and reinvention. So, our listener, you can find the link to David's free one-page wealth compass in the show note. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Once again, it was really a pleasure and honor having you on the show, David.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.